As a child, I attended a small Lutheran bilingual mission church on San Antonio's west side, of the barrio of San Antonio. This little tiny Protestant island in a vast Catholic sea that was the west side of San Antonio. My mother had grown up a few doors away from this little congregation and had gone there as a girl and grew up in it. And when I was 10 years old, we moved further out from downtown, from that part of town, and near a sister Lutheran congregation. And while it was the same denomination, it was completely different. It was all Anglo, and it was a big, growing church with just under 1,000 members, roughly the size of your congregation here today. We went to church every single Sunday. I attended both the worship service and Sunday school. And later I spent 9 months, half a day every Saturday, in confirmation classes. In that class, I was taught all of the conservative, really fundamentalist doctrine of that church. I could answer all the questions, and I memorized lots and lots of proof text, verses, all of them in the King James Version, of course. I was taught to believe that it was a matter of life and death, eternal life and death, to believe the right things. And then I went to college. I learned about evolution and cultural anthropology and comparative religion. And I simply couldn't believe any longer what I had been taught to believe. And eventually I left the church of my youth. My story's pretty typical, especially for people of my generation. Our congregations tend to serve as religious refugee centers for doubters and heretics. Millions of us felt abandoned by the religious communities in which we were raised. When we were very young, the church was a kind of extended family. It was a place where we belonged, where we felt accepted, where we felt safe. But there was a price of admission. We had to believe the doctrine, or pretend to. And when we couldn't do it any longer, we simply no longer fit. And many of us left all religion behind. I wonder how many millions of people there are in America today who left the church in which they were raised and have become bitter and anti-religious. There's a newer story that I'm hearing more and more often. And it's the tale really of a younger generation, especially people under 40. They come to liberal religion, they come to Unitarian Universalism, wondering if there's something more in a life spent pursuing success. They don't have bad memories of indoctrination and rigidity. They don't come seeking refuge from orthodoxy. They come seeking community, a spiritual home that's a refuge from banality and emptiness. And they also come looking to join hands with others to be a force for good in the world. Now, those who grew up Unitarian Universalists tell yet a different story. Theirs is a story of growing up with freedom from rigidity, sometimes perhaps too much freedom. They seek depth, something to which they can anchor their lives. If they're not imprisoned by rigid orthodoxy, sometimes they feel adrift in a relativistic sea. So we come to liberal religion by different paths. Yet there's one basic notion that almost all of us share with the most conservative, reactionary, and fundamentalist religious extremists. And it's an idea that we also share, ironically enough, with hardcore atheists who are opposed to all religion. Almost all of us have accepted the notion that religion is about what we believe. And the first question most people ask about a religion is, what do they believe? And so we get questions like, so, what do you Unitarian Universalists believe anyway? Is it true you can believe just anything you want? And when somebody asks us what Unitarian Universalists believe, we tend to give answers that are long, vague, and tedious. We aren't comfortable with the question. We squirm, we fidget, we struggle, and then typically we end up talking about what we don't believe. The trouble is that we treat the question, what do you believe, as an obvious and natural question. Because after all, religion is about what we believe, isn't it? No. No. Religion is not about what you or I or Baptists or Catholics or Jews or Muslims or Hindus believe. And I would even go a giant step further. Belief is the enemy of religion. Let me repeat that. Belief is the enemy of religion. Perhaps I should explain. We are so immersed in a culture that views religion as a matter of what people believe that we think it's the way it's always been. But it isn't. As the reading from Carl Armstrong points out today, that all of this emphasis on what somebody believes is actually very modern and very Western. Think about it. Nobody objects to calling Buddhism a religion, yet Buddhism has no theology at all in the way we usually use the word. Buddhists don't believe anything, at least not anything that is a set of propositions. Buddhism doesn't even have a God in the usual sense. But of course, we might think of Buddhism as exceptional and esoteric and foreign. Well, let's take a look at the religious culture out of which many of us came, the Christian and Jewish traditions. Jews have never had anything like a creed, a statement of belief. And ironically enough, Jesus, the Jew, about whom there are all sorts of creeds, probably never encountered a creed in his life. The whole idea of a creed would have been foreign. Now, Jews did have a definite sense of God. But the key to the God of the Jews is that he had a covenant with the people and gave the Hebrew people the law. The Hebrew scriptures never show any interest in what people believe. The scriptures show a lot of interest in what people do. They're supposed to love God and follow the commandments. The great prophets, think about them, Isaiah, Micah, Jeremiah, the great prophets were all concerned with justice, with compassion, and with being faithful to the covenant. They had no interest in doctrine. And the early Christian communities, while they did show some concern with what people believed, actually tolerated a lot of variety. And Islam, the next great religious movement on earth, also has little theology. Its statement of faith is, there is no God but God, and Muhammad is his prophet. It's a way of insisting, as did the Jews, that there's only one God. Or if you're not theistic, it's another way of saying we all owe allegiance to a common source, or we are all one people. The great emphasis in Islam was with what the faithful are supposed to do, not what they're supposed to think. All of this emphasis on religion as belief doesn't come on the scene until much, much later. It started with the Catholic Church and its creeds, but really got intense with the Reformation. All of this emphasis on religion being about believing the right things is a very modern development. And even as we heard earlier, the whole idea of belief got twisted. The word used to be used in a very different way. It once meant what I give my heart to, or what I commit myself to. So belief was linked with emotion and with action. It didn't mean agreeing with a set of metaphysical or theological propositions. And actually, if you think about it, even in religions that emphasize belief, their beliefs change over time. It's no longer a sin, or it's no longer heresy to believe the sun is the center of the solar system. Today, the Catholic Church accepts evolution. So one can be a faithful Catholic today by believing what would have been heresy a few centuries ago. Lots of American Protestant churches once taught that slavery was God's plan. We don't hear that preached so much anymore. So even in the religions that care the most about what people believe, Beliefs change, yet the religion goes on and on. So a religion cannot simply be about what its followers believe. But I want to make a more radical point. The point is that religious belief is actually the enemy of religion. Every major religious tradition seeks to instill in us a sense of wonder, of mystery, awe, compassion, gratitude, humility. Creeds stop that cold. Once we think our religion is about being right, once we think we have all the answers, we become arrogant, belligerent, and defensive. Just look at what happens when a belief system takes center stage, because what follows is truly horrible. First, we categorize everyone who does not agree with us as either ignorant or evil. If we have the truth and are certain we have it, then our task in life becomes spreading this truth. And our task also becomes defending the truth from all those who disagree. Believers have enemies everywhere. The world becomes a battleground. This is the world of Muslim fundamentalists blowing up innocent people, or of Christian fundamentalists trying to criminalize gays and lesbians. It's the world of John Calvin burning Michael Servetus alive because Servetus did not agree with the doctrine of the Trinity. It's the world of the Spanish Inquisition. Once a religion becomes an all-encompassing belief system, murder will surely follow. Believers are dangerous. They always have been. So, if religion isn't really about what we believe, then what is it about? Can we be religious without a belief system? I am convinced that religion without belief is true religion. Religion that is focused on belief is a dangerous corruption of true religion. Religion without belief isn't phony religion or fake religion or pretend religion or religion light. You know, I've heard critics of liberal religion claim that ours is a church where people can believe anything they want. Actually, that isn't true. I can't believe anything I want. I want to believe that I'm going to live to be 900 and play professional baseball. But I can't, in good conscience, believe that. What's important about liberal religion is that you and I don't have to pretend to believe what we don't believe. We don't have to lie. And most importantly, we don't get caught up in endless, ridiculous debates about whose beliefs are true. The problem with asking what somebody believes is that it's the wrong question. It's the wrong question. True religion is about what we love, not about what we think. True religion is about what you and I hold sacred. And the practice of true religion is faithfulness to what we love. The key religious questions you and I have to answer are these. What do we love so much that we're moved to tears? What gives us unspeakable joy? What brings us peace beyond understanding? What do we love so much that it calls us into action? And what do we care about so deeply that we willingly and joyfully devote our lives to it? When we focus on what we truly love, we ask life's essential questions. We ask questions like, how shall I live? And when we ask the questions together in a community, it becomes, how shall we live together? What shall we do together? And when we focus on what we together truly love, we will discover something wonderful. That we love the same things. We realize that we need one another, that we want to be compassionate and gentle with one another, that we want to raise children who are kind and joyful and responsible, that we want to create a religious community where we can come to know one another deeply, that we want to create a place where we can cry together, laugh together, and sing together, learn together, and act together. We want a place where we can come together to remind ourselves of what is truly worthwhile. And that is what worship is. It is literally an affirmation of worth. And we want to make a difference in the world. We're not content to be a club. And we know that there are hundreds, thousands of neighbors who love what we love. And if they love what we love, then they have the same religion that we do. We open our hearts and our doors to them. Religion beyond belief is the religion that millions of people long for. It is religion that transcends culture, race, and class. It is religion where we can grow spiritually, a religion where we can forge deep and lasting relationships, a religion where we can join hands to help heal a broken world. The central issue before us as a religious movement is not to decide what we believe. That will just get us to arguing among ourselves until the theological cows come home. And trust me, they have been gone for millennia. They're not coming home in our lifetime. No, the central issue before us all is whether we will accept the challenge to become a religion beyond belief. We live at a time when religious tribalism kills people every day. Fundamentalists try to force their beliefs on others. And millions upon millions of people want no part of that kind of religion. And yet the options offered by secular consumer culture are empty. People know that consumerism is a false god. And modern society, with its mobility, has eroded the network of relationships that gave people a deep sense of belonging and of transcendence. Rigorous studies in social psychology show us that modern Americans are the most emotionally isolated people who have ever lived on Earth. So, millions of people, these people, seek a community where they can nurture relationships, raise their children, deepen spiritually, and serve a mission that is worthy of their highest ideals. What these millions are seeking is a religion beyond belief. We can be that religion. We can feed the starving multitudes. And this is our challenge here in Arlington and across our association. There is so much more we could be doing. Just think of the possibilities. Think of the possibilities across this land. We all have an important role to play. And I invite you to continue doing what you've always done, which is to embrace new possibilities. And the possibilities before our entire movement are simply breathtaking. This is our challenge. We must know what we love. And then we must let that love guide us. This, my friend, is true religion. It's not really religion without belief. It's religion beyond belief. It's a religion to be lived and felt. This is the religion our world so desperately needs. And this, I am convinced, is what we are called to be. I leave you with this simple prayer. May true religion, the religion of what we love, guide us today and always. Let us create a religion beyond belief. So may it be. Amen.